It appears as if the federal Liberal Party is about to learn a very important lesson in the near or later future as to why you do not make your party a personality cult around the leader and the prime minister. Because right now, Justin Trudeau is absolutely irreplaceable for the Liberals. They have nobody else who could take over as the leader of the party or the prime minister because they have made the entire party about Justin Trudeau. That's such a weird word to have to apply to a man like Justin Trudeau. He's incredibly incompetent, he's deeply unpopular, and he's very, very corrupt. And somehow he is also the only man who could actually helm the Liberal Party into the next election and not have them fall below like 10 seats. Everyone else who could possibly become the Liberal Party leader, both in the party and outside of the party, are just not compelling to Canadians at all. Liberal Party supporters don't even really like these candidates, and all Canadians definitely do not like these people. It would be easier trying to sell asbestos into people's homes today than have these people actually be put on the ballot as the leader of the Liberal Party in a next federal election. Like, they're going to have to absolutely clear the decks of all these old ministers and MPs after this next election, tell them not to run again because nobody wants to see them. And the issue is all these people are effectively just Justin Trudeau with less personality, because no matter what ministry they are in charge of, they are effectively just Justin Trudeau. They might as well be wearing Justin Trudeau face masks every single time they walk into the House of Commons, because it's not just that Justin Trudeau controls the direction of policy. Obviously, he's going to do that as the prime minister. The issue is every detail, the tone of the government, just the way people probably even drink water, whether it's with the right hand or the left hand, is probably controlled by Justin Trudeau. The man, although he does have his advisors, him and his small band of fools in his office pretty much controlled every single aspect of the party. It's Justin Trudeau and Katie Telford and Rob Silver telling every single minister what to say and do. Arif Virani, I believe the current justice minister, is the perfect example. A man who doesn't have a personality. If he wasn't the minister, I think he might just fade away. I'm not sure if Arif Virani's an actual person or not. He's effectively just a manifestation of what Justin Trudeau wants to do horribly wrong with censorship policy and all this other stuff. It's an absolute clown show. But I want to show you the polling that came out from Abacus Data. First, I'll show you what Liberal Party supporters think. Then I'll show you what all Canadians think. Although these first figures are actually almost worse when you consider that all these ministers should be extremely popular inside the Liberal Party simply because the Liberal supporters are predisposed to liking these people. And check this out. The person they like the best is Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland, with only 50% of Liberal Party supporters having a positive impression of them. That's insane. Only 50% of people in your own party like you after being in government for multiple terms. That's terrifying. If you polled the Conservative Party, there'd be tons of shadow ministers and critics who are above 70 or 80 or 90% approval. The thing is that Freeland's somehow only at 50%. It's like baffling. Melanie Joly only at 42%. Mark Carney, who is not in the Liberal government, but he's considered like a potential successor, although he's effectively just a Michael Ignatieff, but he lives in the UK instead of the US, he only polls 32%. Philippe Champagne, 32%. Anita Anand, 30%. Dominic LeBlanc, 29%. And the cherry on top is Sean Fraser, only has a 23% positive approval rating with Liberal Party supporters. A good 40% of people don't even know who he is. 27% are neutral and 9% are negative. That's horrifying because they've been pumping up Sean Fraser for the last year now as like the second coming of a housing minister, acting like this guy has the right alchemy to make sure that we can fit in the 500,000 new permanent residents we bring in a year, plus all the foreign workers and students. And then we also have a lot of Canadian citizens who can't find houses. But no, Sean Fraser is the man for the job, a man who is effectively just a taller and more awkward version of Justin Trudeau. And Justin Trudeau is like, at least he's charismatic. Like, I don't like him. I think he's a jerk. I think he's foolish. But in 2015, he at least came off charismatic. And now all these people are just the most awkward people you've ever met. Have you ever seen Chrystia Freeland in the background of a press conference? It's mesmerizing to watch her. It's like she can't sit still. Frankly, she reminds me of me because even I'm a little bit weird like that. But you shouldn't be like me. Don't be like me. Although if you should like me if you live in my riding, since I, Wyatt Claypool, am running for the riding of Calgary Signal Hill. So buy a Conservative Party membership if you live in West Calgary, and check out my website, wyattclaypool.com. Shameless plug. But all this gets even worse when you look at what all Canadians think of these people. Chrystia Freeland with all Canadians, 21% approval. Jolie, 19% approval. Carney, 18. Champagne, 16. LeBlanc, 13. Anita Anand, 12. And Sean Fraser with 10% approval among all Canadians. And Freeland, being the best candidate within the Liberal Party, has a 34% negative approval rating, a net negative 13. The only person with a worse approval rating is Sean Fraser, simply because nobody knows who he is, because he is skull-crushingly boring as a person. And again, it's not boring is fine, actually. A lot of the time, boring is actually an okay trait to have as a politician. You could say, and I'm not trying to go after anyone here, but Harper was a little bit boring. But he was boring in the way that you want your accountant to be boring. You don't want there to be too much exciting accounting work going on. You hope that your taxes are boring to them and they do not get too excited about anything unless you get a big tax return or something. For the most part, boring's not a bad thing. But with Sean Fraser, it's not that he's boring in the sense he's good at his job and you don't really have to check in on him. That guy, you are terrified he's messing up something at all times, and he's boring to boot. So it is the worst possible package for a candidate. And again, Freeland, somehow Freeland standing right next to the Trudeau. Who would have thunk it that she became extremely unpopular? Mark Carney, he's at a 0 net approval. 18% like him, 18% don't like him, and 24% are neutral. For everyone who thinks that they could just slot in Mark Carney and the Liberals will go up by 5 or 6%, it doesn't work that way. And it's what I said at the start. The party, the Liberal Party of Canada, is a cult around Justin Trudeau. So throwing in Mark Carney would actually have a lot of the progressives probably go and vote for another party or stay home, probably vote NDP or Green, or stay home if they're in like super liberal ridings where nobody else could possibly win. And it's because Justin Trudeau is actually a very fundamentally orange liberal. He is a very NDP-ish liberal, hyper progressive, hyper socialistic on a lot of economics. So throwing in a Mark Carney, who feels a lot like Bill Morneau, who actually probably would have made a good candidate because Bill Morneau was like Mark Carney with more personality, it just feels like a retreat to put Carney in as the leader. And the thing is that, yes, it's trying to maybe lose with dignity putting Carney in, but I don't think Carney's up for that job right now. And obviously people could then try and strike back and say, well, the Conservative Party feels like a personality cult around Pierre Poilievre. No, it does not. And you know how I can prove that to you? Think about probably the top 10 prominent conservatives. You can probably think of a lot of the same people I'd think of, because there's a lot of big personalities inside the Conservative Party. People who are allowed to do what they want, say what they want, obviously within some general bounds of what the party believes on different issues. But there are genuine personalities inside the Conservative Party. If Poilievre for some reason had stepped down and stopped being the leader, we'd have a really competitive and interesting leadership race on our hands. The leadership for the Liberals, Freeland's going to debate Mark Carney and Sean Fraser. Like, man, to be a fly on the wall on that debate, knowing what boring opinions all these people agree with each other on and all the issues that they'll dodge that they ended up causing in government. Like, they would just give inspiring speeches about how, wow, we're a truly progressive country and we need progressive policy. It would be like that for an hour and a half. Oh, but Canada is truly healing if nobody likes these people at all. There's some other good polls right here that sum up the numbers for all these individuals for their current polling ratings. And then I think this one's also interesting. Look at these people and their approval ratings across different provinces. Freeland's really the only sort of doable option, since a lot of people in Ontario know who she is. But as soon as she steps out to a Western province, her approval rating just hits the floor. It's purely because people in like Toronto know who she is, but that would just be kind of putting a hat on a hat. The Liberal Party already does good in Toronto. So what's the point of putting in a Toronto politician to lead the Liberals? If they kind of need either someone from British Columbia or like Manitoba to be their leader, they need to get a little bit away from the St. Lawrence River and get away from that kind of elite vibe that they really project towards the Canadian public. Anyways, that should be it for me today, guys. Sorry to bore you by talking about a hypothetical leadership race that's not even happening, but at least I find it interesting thinking about just how in the corner the Liberals have put themselves. They are between a rock and a Trudeau place right now. There's no way that they can actually get out of the polling position they are in, and I think this is very indicative of it. Anyways, so that's it for me. If you live in Calgary, Signal Hill on the west side of Calgary, check if you live in this riding. If Ron Liepert is your current MP, that's the riding that this is. If you live here, buy a Conservative Party federal membership and check out my website, wyattclaypool.com. And also, you can donate to the legal fund that I'm running for the lawsuit we're in against a Chinese billionaire developer who has not actually proven that we defamed him in over 2 years of this case going on, and he hasn't even submitted any actual evidence that we defamed him. It's a completely ridiculous case, but it's cost us a lot of money. So anything you can contribute to that really helps us out a lot. And also the TNT Telegram channel is also linked in the description if you want to join that. So you get all of our new content, both from this channel and other areas, all being given to you right away. So you don't have to rely on YouTube and other social media platforms popping up whenever we have a new video, where I see that happen a lot, where people say their notifications get turned off on YouTube, or for some reason they never get recommended one of my videos for like 3 weeks straight. And this is a great antidote to that. Anyways, that should be it for me today, guys. Have a good